Good morning. I knew this earring thing would happen one of these days. I just hoped it wasn't right when I was standing here. Good morning. Welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Ann Arbor. It matters that you are here in the sanctuary, or wherever you are watching the live stream right now, or even if you are watching later on demand. Your presence matters. This Sunday, we are exploring the idea of trust, of living into what that means for us individually and collectively. And I want to acknowledge that it takes a lot of it, trust, to show up, especially if you're new. And we're happy if you have taken that chance and trusted us enough to see if this might be your spiritual home. You're invited to join a Newcomers Welcome immediately after the service in the Jackson Chapel, just outside these doors, a little bit past and to the right. There'll be a sign. And if you are new but watching safely at home and you have questions, don't hesitate to call or email us. And for those of you for whom this space is home and your favorite chair is here, welcome back. I'm Reverend Theresa Rohlck. I'm the Congregational Chaplain and Director of the Handbell Choir. Our worship team today includes Reverend Manish, Mishra-Marzetti, our Senior Minister, and Carter Smith, our Acting Director of Music Ministries, Allison Halerz, our Pianist-in-Residence, and Olivia Bassett-Kennedy, one of the Chalice singers, will be joining us for some music. And the entire choir will make an appearance as well. Yes, thanks to the technical wizardry of Mike Halerz, our tech consultant. Yay, Chalice singers. Yes. This congregation has been gathering for over 155 years. And while I can't say how many children were members in 1865, I can say our children are an integral part of this congregation in 2021. They're gathering inside today under the care of our Acting Director of Spiritual Growth and Development, Stella Anderson, and many other teachers and volunteers. The presence of our children is a blessing we don't want to forget. These kids are our future. And as I look out into the sanctuary, I see your eyes. And I am grateful for what I see because it means you are all wearing your masks properly. And I want to say, I speak on behalf of the worship team and all of the staff, thank you. Thank you for demonstrating your care for all in the community by wearing your masks consistently inside and outside the building and keeping socially distanced as appropriate and being sensitive to the needs of all, even those that differ from your own. I know it's uncomfortable to wear a mask all the time, so if you need a break, please know it is okay to get up during the service at any point and step outside for that break. We will still have social hour outside after the service, even though it's been rather rainy. You might choose to get your donut and coffee to go, but if you stay and are outside under the tent, just be aware the ground is very wet and muddy and might be a little slippery. But we hope we'll see you all there. So welcome. Welcome to each and to all. We are gathered for worship.
Good morning. Good morning. As we continue gathering and preparing ourselves for our time together, I'd invite into the chancel Jane Ferguson and Tricia Smith will be supporting us with our chalice lighting this morning. In Unitarian Universalism, we light a flame at the beginning of our gatherings, a flame symbolizing that sense of hope, that sense of possibility, of love and compassion brought alive, the flame that helps us guide our way. All of that is symbolized and held together whenever Unitarian Universalists gather together like this. In support of that, would you join me in our community's familiar words of chalice lighting? Let us join our voices. We light this chalice for the light of truth. We light this chalice for the warmth of love. We light this chalice for the energy of action. We light this chalice for the harmony of peace. Thank you so much. And in a community, a Unitarian Universalist community such as ours, we are not bound together by a common set of creedal beliefs, but rather by our commitment to be together in community on a shared and unfolding spiritual journey. In support of that, we offer commitments and promises to one another that we refer to as a covenant. Would you join together in the words of our community's covenant? The spirit of this church is love, and service is its law. This is our covenant with each other, to dwell together in peace, to search for truth in love, and to help one another. May it indeed be so. It's my privilege to invite into our pulpit this morning our congregational president, Laura Johnstone, who will be offering a few words in support of the season that our community is in, what we refer to as our annual stewardship season, our annual fund drive period. Would you give a warm round of welcome to your congregational president, Laura Johnstone.
Good morning, everybody. So, after Ed and Beth's eloquent messages last week, both mentioning our pledge drive, what do you think I'm here to talk about today? I found both of their messages very inspiring, and maybe what resonated with me the most was what they said about community. I was raised in an Anglican church, and later, in my later teens, became involved with a couple different fundamentalist denominations. I learned a lot, and I enjoyed the community aspect of each, but I also knew that neither was quite a good fit for me. But I did come away from that experience having learned two solid truths along the way. One is that we are all connected, and two, that no one denomination had a corner on the truth, had a corner on spirituality. Even though it seemed they were all equally sure that they did, the fact that even that they sometimes contradicted and maligned each other taught me that they did not. When I came to Ann Arbor to college, I didn't bring the church community with me. I didn't create a new church community. I created a new college community for myself, which did include spirituality, along with some other college things, but not churches, not going to church. I loved Ann Arbor so much that I decided to stay here after graduation. But it wasn't long that work took me out of the city. Being headquartered in a job that was headquartered in Detroit, and then traveling every week for an organization that was headquartered in Washington, D.C., and lastly, before retirement, to an organization headquartered in Toledo. So it struck me after I retired that work had been providing me my community. And even though my wife Cynthia and I had developed many friendships in Ann Arbor, that it wasn't the same as community. And I missed that. So we went looking for it here in town again. So armed with only two truths, my two truths, I tooled around the web, came across the UUAA. Now, up to that point, I only knew two things about Unitarian Universalists. One was that they let us have our women/lesbian concerts, which was very cool. And secondly, was of something that a friend of mine shared, that she has 4 children who attended UUAA, and she shared the coming of age ritual, where the teens examine the sources for UUAA, and then fashion their own beliefs and creeds to kind of send them on their way out into the world, their first independent steps into the world, which I thought was very cool. So both of these things were positive, so we kept exploring. We listened to a sermon online, and it happened to be Reverend Manish's guest sermon, when he was a candidate to become senior minister here. We liked what we heard. We then looked into the 7 principles, which seemed right on the mark to one who already believed that we are all connected and that no one denomination is exclusively right. And that's what got us in the door, but it was the community we found that kept us coming back. We found our tribe, as Cynthia likes to say. We found our kindred spirits with similar values. I liked the covenant that we recited at services, but the covenant was a new concept for me, and I wasn't really well versed or aware of how that actually played out in congregational life. So we soon got immersed in activities: Friday fun night, the auction, chalice circles, workshops, more. One of the groups I joined was just embarking on a new project. We probably had 12 to 15 people in the room, and what do you think our biggest challenge was that very first meeting? Of course, to coordinate our schedules, find time so that we could have more meetings. One young man in the group who was fairly new to the congregation stated that he could only meet on Thursday mornings. That was it. That was his sole availability. And when he said that, I thought, okay, everybody will kind of chime in, say when they're available, and we'll pick the most convenient for everybody. But that's not what happened. What happened, excuse me, was that everybody paused, took out their phones to scroll to their calendars, or took out their calendars, and looked around, and everybody decided that they would arrange or rearrange their calendars so that we could meet Thursday mornings. And so did I. Thursday mornings it was. But ironically, that was the last we saw or ever heard from him. Now, one of the women in our group described at subsequent meetings, Thursday morning meetings, that she was reaching out to him and leaving very gentle email messages, very gentle voicemail messages, which I understood. You know, of course, reach out, see what's going on. Is there something up? Can we help? But I was curious about why she stressed gentle so much. And I don't have a poker face, so I'm sure I was sitting there with a big old question mark on mine when she said gentle so many times, because she answered the question. She said, I'm leaving gentle messages so that he knows he can come back, because the door is always open. So, a simple concept, a loving concept, a covenantal concept. Such a simple concept that really caused a shift in my core. To me, this demonstrated such a small, yet in a huge way, what it means to live in community within the framework of our covenant to each other. And as I continue to learn and grow and practice our covenant, I feel blessed to have confidence in this community to be a soft place to land for all. The door is always open. Worthiness is not based on the last project you were involved in, and the last task you did, the last job you helped with, or even last contribution that you made. The door is always open. And I know now why community was the most mentioned in the Vision 2050 little small groups that we had, where we wrote on sticky notes and posted them. Community was by far the most mentioned with all the groups. And that is because it is the strongest tie we have with each other. Sometimes in the excitement of the action around the 3 priority areas of climate action, and anti-oppression, and anti-racism, and radical welcome, we forget that we also identified 3 foundational elements that were true no matter what actions we're taking. They were important to sustain the church, and those are communication, finances, and community. We will always need to communicate what we're doing so the community can come together to accomplish it, and of course it all needs to be funded. And that brings me to Ed's message last week and how it ties in. I remember the first Christmas Eve service that we attended here, and oh my gosh, was it beautiful. It was dark out, and there was dimmer lights inside, and the whole chancel was covered with those beautiful poinsettias. And Reverend Manish introduced the ritual of lighting and lifting the candles, describing the rituals to concentric circles of community, representing the light we have in ourselves, the light we hold for each other, and the light we hold out to the world. And we even did that ritual as we were watching this past Christmas with two friends. They were on their computer, Zoom, watching with us on our computer and watching the service. And we did that with each other. We lit our candles and we held the candle to ourselves and then to each other and then to the greater world. This is the kind of community I want to be part of, that I want to support and help fund and do everything it takes to take that light from ourselves to each other to the world. As it says in one of our favorite hymns, Blue Boat Home, sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the stormy sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep. Drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the light of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. We are nothing if not the strength of our ship's companions, and I'm grateful to be in this blue boat home with all of you kindred pilgrims. Please consider the needs of this community as you contemplate your pledge for the year, and give abundantly as you are able, so that we can keep this blue boat afloat and keep the doors always open. Thank you.
I have a question, especially for the young ones watching from home. Are you ready for a short story? Did you leave for a moment to get a snack? But you're back in front of the screen now, right? Okay, good. Let's start. This is a story for all ages, actually, so I hope everyone here is comfortable. It's one of Aesop's fables, and this one is about a lion and a mouse. Now, if I were a mouse, I'm not sure I would trust a lion. I think I'd be afraid the lion would eat me. And if I were a lion, I certainly would not think very much of a small, seemingly helpless mouse. But look what changes in their relationship when they trust each other. One beautiful sunny morning in the forest, Lion was napping in the sun. Maybe even dreaming lion dreams. Mouse was happily running around in the forest, trying to find the sunniest spots to play in. Before Mouse even knew what happened, they ran right into Lion sleeping in the sun. Mouse's tiny heart started beating very fast, and they skittered across Lion's nose in an effort to run away. Well, if something runs across your nose, it would tickle. And that's exactly what happened. Lion felt a tickle on his nose and woke up. Seeing Mouse right there, Lion covered up Mouse with a big and kind of scary paw, and not very gently. All seemed lost for Mouse. Mouse's heart beat even faster, if that was possible, and Mouse said in a tiny voice, "Lion, please, don't hurt me or eat me. Please let me go, and I promise someday I can repay your kindness." Well, that sounded so ridiculous that Lion started laughing and let Mouse go, thinking it was highly unlikely, in fact, impossible, to trust a teeny mouse to actually help someone as big and strong as a lion. After a few days, on another beautiful sunny morning, Lion was wandering through the woods searching for food, and he fell into a trap set by a hunter. Lion was caught and tangled in a net, and the more Lion tried to get free, the tighter the ropes became. Feeling extremely angry, Lion started to roar extraordinarily loudly. This scared away all the other forest animals, except for Mouse. Mouse heard the roar, recognized who it was, and ran to where Lion was trapped and started to gnaw on the ropes of the net. Lion became quiet and watched as the ropes, one by one, loosened. And soon Lion was free. And Mouse said, "You laughed before when I said I would someday repay you, but I have kept my word." Lion thanked Mouse. Then they each went their separate ways into the forest. The end.
Good morning, everyone. This morning we have an opportunity to share our collection with the Children's Literacy Network, a local organization founded in 1990